Hi friends. Today we're going to talk about the 3 most important things you can do if you just found out you have osteoporosis or osteopenia. They're the same 3 things that I did as a physical therapist when I found out I had low bone density. And I want you to stick around with me to the end because the last thing I share with you could save your life. That's no joke, and I'll tell you exactly why that last tip is so important. If you like this kind of content and free support with exercise videos for every level of ability, please hit the subscribe button so you have access to all of that information. Now let's dive into it. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Lisa. I'm a physical therapist and a specialist in osteoporosis and bone health exercise. I do it for myself and I share it with you. Now, number 1, we need to transform fear into action. The action steps that you take to build movement confidence back in your body. Because if you're like me, as soon as you found out, you were more vulnerable and fragile and more concerned about how you could move and what activities were safe to do or not. I wasn't sure if I could continue my same exercise program or continue to work in the same way that I always had. So finding this information and being able to take the action steps that you can will help get your confidence back. Now, osteoporosis is a risk factor for a fracture, and preventing a fracture is the number 1 goal of treatment. This means keep moving. Keep walking, keep cycling, keep playing pickleball, because we know that becoming sedentary is the worst thing you can do. And that can increase your risk for fracture as you lose strength and become more sedentary. So keep up the activities you love, but learn how to do them safely. I have a free foundations program for beginners on my YouTube channel, and there's one video in particular in that foundations program that reviews safe movement, how to bend correctly, how to lift correctly, how to stretch correctly, and we'll link that here in this video so you have access to understand how you can gain confidence back in your body right away. Number 2, we need to get an understanding of our risk factors. We have risk factors for osteoporosis that we can control, and we have some we can't control, such as your age, being female, being postmenopausal, having a family member, a parent that had osteoporosis or had a hip fracture. We can't change those things, or other serious medical conditions that may be contributing to our bone health, like treatment for cancer or breast cancer where we're on estrogen suppression. But we have other things that we can control, and these are things that we really need to pay attention to because they're very powerful levers that we can pull to help reduce our risk for fracture. So for these, well, number 1 at the list is smoking. Smoking is horrible for bones, and if you are a smoker, you need to find measures and get support and try to quit smoking. Alcohol can also be very detrimental to bones, and so reducing or eliminating alcohol can be another lifestyle factor that you can change. Sedentary behavior. Well, we just touched base on that. We don't want to be sedentary, and if you started sedentary, then you can begin very gentle exercise to help improve that. We're going to talk more about that next. Your nutrition. Having a diet that's full of highly processed fast foods, high in sugar, low in nutrients, it's very inflammatory, and these do not help support our bones, especially if we're not getting enough protein for our ideal body weight and enough calcium through food every single day. I'm a big believer in calcium through food first before supplementing, and I only recommend 1 calcium chew. It's not really a supplement, it's a calcium chew because it's made from real food and it's by Seen Nutrition, S-E-E-N. But we need to really focus on calcium through food first. So that diet nutrition component is very important. Also, we need to have the optimal level of vitamin D. Too low vitamin D is known as association for low bone density. Too much vitamin D is not healthy either. So you need to work with your doctor to check your vitamin D levels and make sure that they're where we want them to be. With your doctor, other modifiable factors can be reviewing any medications that you're on that may be contributing to low bone density. I have an entire video that reviews what medications may be putting you at increased risk. And you can work with your medical provider to determine if there's a safer option or a different dose, or if really you need to keep it right where it is. The other thing with your medical doctor and your provider to talk about is there any screening for potential underlying causes of your low bone density? Something like celiac disease or non-celiac gluten sensitivity, or do you have a risk for thyroid issues or parathyroid issues? So work with your medical team to screen for potential underlying causes as you proceed through your decisions in treatment making. Now, the last thing, and the third, and in my opinion, really the most important lever, is to get training in bone health exercise. Because here's the kicker. When you're losing bone, you're also losing muscle. Muscle and bone loss go together. They're two branches on the same tree. And muscle strength and your muscle mass can save your life. Here's the deal. If you're an older adult and you fracture your hip and you need to have surgery to repair it, even if you don't have surgery, if you fracture your hip, there's a 25% chance that you will not survive in the following year. Those are staggering statistics, and they're used to scare people a lot. But here's the context that is left out, and this is what can change your life. The people who are more likely to die after a hip fracture are weak, are frail, and they have other medical conditions and comorbidities. So, weak and frail, they have low functional capacity, the ability to recover and rebound after a hip fracture. And 50% of people who hip fracture are not able to return to their prior place of living. So they lose a level of independence, maybe going from independent to an adult family home or a nursing home. The factor here again is muscle strength. Muscle strength can contribute to your independence and your ability to survive if you sustain a hip fracture. This is life-saving information. Working on strength is one of the most important things you can do for successful aging and remaining independent. And don't we all want that? Yeah. So muscle is protective against fracture, and it'll help save your life if you do fracture. Now, what types of exercise make the biggest difference? Well, Brickhouse Bones is evidence-based exercise that works. So balance exercise. Now, almost everyone can do balance exercises. And since we know that 80 to 90% of all fractures occur because of a fall, then balance exercise is imperative. And not just standing on one leg, but dynamic and reactive balance. And I include these balance exercises in all of my videos and programs. Posture exercise, exercises that help strengthen the muscles that support the spine, are protective against spinal fractures. Strength exercise and resistance training, because this builds muscle. This is the strength that we need to have functional capacity. And then that leads to functional exercise for things that we do in real life. Squat, push, pull, carry. Carrying our groceries, pulling a heavy door, pushing a cart, doing things with our gardening, taking the garbage can to the curb and back, carrying laundry up and down stairs. Functional exercises to help us do these everyday activities safely and efficiently. And then lastly, power. Power is our ability to move with speed, and that quickness and power can be the difference between a fall or no fall, and our ability to put our foot out quickly and stop our loss of balance. So power training is a part of the Brickhouse Bones methods. So let me just share with you first. So I have a free foundations program that's anyone that's a beginner. I wanted everyone to have access to a foundational program on strong bones exercise. So it's an entire playlist on my YouTube channel called Foundations for Beginners. If you're looking for a place to start, I made this free program for you. And I have other exercises on YouTube as well at different intensities, and I have collections on my website that are 4x4 exercises, moderate intensity for strength. 4 exercises, 4 rounds. It'll get the heart rate going and get you sweating. And then I have a build program. Now this is for experienced exercisers. So if you were like me and you were in your 50s, you were already exercising and active, and you found out you had low bone density, I still wanted to do really targeted, high intensity strength training that was right for my bones. And that's what build is. Full body strength training with no dangerous exercises like crunches and Russian twists. It's all just really impactful, powerful stuff in there. So if this was valuable for you, please leave me a comment below and tell me what one thing you learned the most that might get you moving in the right direction so that you can take action. I've got one more thing for you. I'm going to link my program, Journey to Fracture Proof. Journey to Fracture Proof is a recorded workshop webinar that I did. It's 90 minutes long where I pack in evidence, research, and guidelines about strong bones exercises. I give examples, video examples of how to do each specific type of exercise from beginner level to advanced. And this gets the framework of strong bones exercise. If you're interested in that, it's on my website. We will link it for you here. And I thank you for your time and listening.